Well, it's Friday, and it's also day 3 of the government shutdown, and the Democratic Party seems willing to let it all just burn to the ground, all for letting illegal immigrants get taxpayer-funded health care. Once again, voting down a clean resolution to get the government back up and running. And today, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt bringing receipts to the briefing.
In 2023, under the Biden administration, Southern California's, quote, entire healthcare system was being bombarded with illegal immigrants and forcing American patients to endure longer wait times. In Denver, Colorado, the CEO of Denver Health stated that 8,000 illegal immigrants made 20,000 visits to the city's health system in 2023. Leaving an uncompensated bill totaling over $10 million. So when a legal alien goes to the emergency room, who's paying for it? The American taxpayer.
And be careful what you shut down for, because this fight is shining a big, ugly spotlight on just how bad the Democrats' messaging really is, as well as how frustrated the rank and file are with the leadership of Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer. Case in point, their big shutdown live stream YouTube marathon is getting mocked across the board after it managed to pull in barely, listen to this, 400 viewers. I know.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Oh, Don, we can't hear you.
Gen Z is in the house.
Maxwell, it'd be great to.
That's right. And the other thing that I hear is from the provider.
He just texted me. Oh, I think we're on.
But are you really ready to fight for health care over billionaires? Oh, come on! I can't hear you. Are you ready to fight for health care over billionaires? That's more like it.
Sure to change hearts and minds there. When all else fails, the scare tactics always come out. Democrats are going full apocalypse mode over the shutdown.
We are living in an unprecedentedly dangerous moment, maybe the worst crisis in America literally since the Civil War.
There are going to be people who are going to die because of these decisions. And that, more than anything else, the Republicans don't want to talk about.
We're not going to sit there and simply rubber stamp Donald Trump's extreme agenda and the harm that they continue to do on the American people. It's a continuation of an all-out assault on the health care and the well-being of the American people.
That's right.
Listless, aimless, feckless, Jesse. Who's your favorite messenger of the bunch?
Oh, I like all of them because they're so bad. Politics is a lot like television, and that's why Hegseth's Secretary of Defense, and that's why Trump's president.
War
Secretary, excuse me.
Dare you.
You know, and everybody around the table knows you can have the best lighting, you can have the best wardrobe, you can have the best writers. And if they put that spotlight on you and you have no talent, you have no show.
I disagree. But anyway, go ahead.
We have seen, well, you look at CNN maybe, but we have seen people, we've given them everything and they just fall flat on their face. You'd think the Democrats with big tech, with Hollywood, with all the help they can get, they can't pull it together. And you look at some of the most uninspiring, not very attractive, dumb, wacky people, and they're being exposed. It's the Kamala problem. The more you see them and the more you hear from them, the less you like them. And if you can't produce something without audio problems and without dead air, how are we going to put you in charge of health care? The people who you put out there, it's almost like subconsciously, do I want to be with this group of people when I look at them? You know? Do you want to be with a guy who has a sombrero on his head and who's complaining that there's a sombrero and who thinks the sombrero is racist? Do you want to be on the side of someone that looks and sounds like Chuck Schumer or on the side of someone that sounds like Crockett? No. And so politics is very stupid that way. It's very simple, but we get it. And it's being exposed right now. And the people that are good at it on their side are the dumb ones, like AOC and Bernie. They're telegenic. They're kind of good communicators, but they have the worst ideas. So you have one wing of the party and the other wing of the party, and the talent gap is just off the charts. And ideologically, they're at war with each other. So you're going to have to wait years for this to end. And right now you're seeing the shutdown expose it all.
Jessica, why does your party want to shut down the government for taxpayer-funded health care for illegal immigrants?
It's just not what's going on. And we know that that's the case because Leader Jeffries, when he was being interviewed, said they know that it's a lie because when it was actually in the Oval Office, it came up for a sum total of 10 seconds. Mike Johnson, and to his credit, he does a ton of interviews, but everybody is pushing back on him about that, showing the actual text, which says, we're talking about people who are lawfully here. If you want to pull it out, go to the section that actually delineates.
Page 57.
Yeah,
I'll pass
Kaylee,
it over. That's the bill.
Oh, I've
from
seen
Chuck
it.
Schumer.
Yeah, no, I know. And if you go to the part below the one that's being highlighted on all the GOP accounts, you'll see that it's for people who are here lawfully protected status, domestic violence survivors, et cetera.
That's what's being
Either way-
exploited. That's the whole point.
Yeah, when you're an asylum seeker,
All right,
That's the whole point.
you
Get
guys
free
here.
health care.
You do what you want. You want to make fun of us. You want to say
No,
that
we
it's
just want you
humiliating. I want
to
just let me
acknowledge
finish.
what you're identifying as legitimate isn't.
The thing is, you can mock Democratic messengers all that you want, but then that just says something terrible about the Republicans because we are lapping you when it comes to this. Washington Post, 17 percentage point advantage for the Republicans as who is responsible. Marist, New York Times, Siena, Morning Consult. Should we extend the ACA subsidies? The Kaiser Family Foundation, 78% say yes, including a majority of Republicans, including a majority of MAGA Republicans. Washington Post, 71% yes. The Wall Street Journal reporting today, inside the White House, aides are discussing proposals to extend the enhanced subsidies for the Affordable Care Act health insurance plans, officials said. Republicans know that they are being blamed for it, and rightly so. They're trying to kick the can down the road. They said, well, we'll deal with it the next time. But you have to make your plan choices in November, not in December when we're going to deal with this again. So go ahead, mock the live stream. Also, check out the GOP account on YouTube. The videos regularly get like 400 or 500 views. It's kind of reminding me of 2020 when everyone who would fan out in front of the cameras would say, Donald Trump won. Joe Biden wasn't really elected. And then they get in a courtroom and their tail is between their legs. And they're like, no, I don't think that. I don't think that. That's what happens. You're in the Oval Office, you act like a big boy, and you deal with Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer. But you get on TV and you say it's about illegals.
Jessica, check out section
It is about illegals.
It's
not.
Greg, the polls also said, Jessica, I know you love the polls. The polls also said Kamala Harris would be the 47th president. That didn't quite work out.
Well, first of all, this is the kind of like the tough spot the Dems are in. If they agree with you and that you're funding illegals, they're screwed. And if they say they aren't, then they explain it with something that they are obliged to drill down further on, which is when they talk about the asylum process. We know that it's a corrupt process. And Kaylee's right. If you look at 71109, you're going to see alien Medicaid eligibility. This is a process that was gamed by illegals, okay? First of all, the live stream, I look back and I found out, do you know what has more views than their live stream? Rosie O'Donnell's colonoscopy.
No.
And it wasn't even recorded. That was 400 real person views. Look, there's no surprise nobody's watching this and why it looks bad, and it does look bad. They are humorless, they are boring, but also they don't have any credibility. This party, your party, lied to all of America about Biden's state. So how can you expect anybody to show up for your live stream after gaslighting them about the biggest political risk that was ever taken? That's like expecting people to come to your birthday party after you burn down the neighborhood, because that's what you did. You burned down the party. So I do think about shutdowns. How is it a shutdown when essential services are maintained, not unessential? I know that Kennedy agrees with me on this. It does create a question in your head. Why is the government involved in the first place in non-essential services that we are paying for? By its very definition, the government maintains stuff that you cannot do yourself. So you want to talk about essential stuff, law enforcement, military operations, air traffic control, Social Security, medical care, VA benefits. These are all not affected by the shutdown. That's why you don't hear anybody complaining. That's why it doesn't make news except on shows like this. So if that is essential, isn't that enough? The Dems have transformed the idea of government, which was an essential service, into an endless well of freebies because they don't feel the pain of paying for it. We do. We won't notice when they nickel and dime us to death. So I want to step back from the squabble, get to this essential point. How do we get here, and how do we prevent it from destroying this country? If America before Trump was a boat with a big leak in it, he came and he sealed the boat, but it's still filled with water. So that he's in the process of extracting the water. Millions of illegals in the boat, soaking up benefits, draining resources, burdening citizens. We need to address that right away because you can't have, maybe you can have free benefits, but then you have to have a closed border.
Amen.
Right? Or you can have an open border and no free stuff. But how do the Democrats, and they can't explain this, how can a country survive when you have an open border and free stuff? No adult can reasonably answer that and say it can happen. It's a recipe for doom. If you have a free candy store next to a school, it's going to go out of business in a day. The Dems shouldn't be defiant about this. They should be grateful that the adults are back in the room, Jessica, and taking the heat that your party so cowardly avoided in your face.
Oh my God, I've had a total change of heart. Thank you so much for saving us.
I can't stop thinking about Rosie's colonoscopy. I'm trying to get that image.
Here, you want to see some stuff on my phone? Check this out. It looks like the Holland Tunnel.
Greg downloaded it.
Kennedy.
Well, the federal funding for that has gone away because we can't have nice things. Well, Rosie's colonoscopy and the Holland Tunnel and whatever other euphemism we can apply here, because it is all a giant hot turd of overspending. And I'm sorry to say it, but both parties are to blame. And we got here because the more money you get from taxpayers, the more control you have over the government. Government is too big. There are many things that might go away that, honestly, we won't really miss. But it is a disingenuous argument to say that the Medi-Cal spending in the state of California is only state spending for illegal aliens, because that is one of the states where, Governor Newsom decided that it would be a great idea to just start writing checks to people who were here illegally. That is Medi-Cal. It was extended to illegal immigrants. So Mark Pocan, who is a representative from Wisconsin, said that's not a federal issue. The federal government isn't funding that. Actually, the federal government does, because Medi-Cal is funded by Medicaid. Medicaid is funded half by the federal government and half by the state, unless you're talking about the 90% of people who are at the intersection of the ACA, which is a horrible system, which already had high premiums before the pandemic and got a goose so people wouldn't die so they could afford their health care. And now that the pandemic is over, you cannot maintain spending at those levels. And to do so was a heartless gambit in the first place. And that was run by Democrats who made this big promise of socialized medicine. But the reality is, the more government you have, the more problems you have, especially in overly subsidized sectors like healthcare.
Fantastic fact check.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.